Reported by CNN on September 23, 2023, Russia, the United States, and China have built new facilities and dug new tunnels at their nuclear test sites in recent years, as seen from satellite imagery. One of China's nuclear tests is in the westernmost region of Xinjiang. Russia's in the Arctic Ocean archipelago, while the United States is in the Nevada desert. Among the purpose of nuclear testing is to show strength and militarization interests. But the danger costs are very detrimental to the environment and threaten human life and other living things. Whereas on July 7, 2017, the United Nations has banned the use of nuclear weapons. Therefore, the Treaty on the Prohibited of Nuclear Weapons was made. What makes this annoying is that countries that have nuclear weapons do not want to sign this treaty for various reasons. This time, Min Geo will show you which countries are still stubbornly keeping and multiplying their nuclear weapons. "78 years ago on July 60, 1945, the United States conducted a nuclear test in the desert valley of Jornada del Muerto, New Mexico. The test, the world first, was known as the Trinity Test, part of the Manhattan Project during World War II, and marked the beginning of the era of nuclear weapons. Less than a month after the test, the United States dropped an atomic bomb to the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killing more than 100,000 people instantly. The death toll continued to rise after the bombings. Thousands died from injuries, radiation sickness, and cancer. The death toll is estimated to be close to 200,000, according to a history of Manhattan Project published by the U.S. Department of Energy. But the terrible impact of the atomic bomb triggered a nuclear arms race between the United States and the Soviet Union and was soon followed by other countries. The increasingly widespread use of nuclear weapons in war crime has led the UN and non-nuclear weapon states to push for nuclear disarmament by focusing on the severe humanitarian consequences of nuclear war. But of course, nuclear weapon states flatly rejected the treaty. Reporting from various sources, there are currently 9 countries that have nuclear weapons, as Min Geo will describe below. At number 9, there's North Korea. Currently, North Korea has enough nuclear material to make 30 to 40 nuclear warheads and may have assembled 10 to 20 weapons. The country is also continuing to develop its long-range missile capabilities. North Korea has conducted 6 nuclear tests between 2006 and 2017, and it's the only country to conduct nuclear tests in the 21st century. In 2017, a bomb was detonated at the Punggye-ri nuclear test sites. The underground explosion created a 6.3 magnitude earthquake. Early in 2016, North Korea voted in UN General Assembly in favor of draft resolution establishing a mandate to begin negotiation on the prohibition to total elimination of nuclear weapons. But in late 2016, North Korea did not participate in the vote of banning nuclear weapons when it was finalized at the UN General Assembly plenary meetings. In 8th place is Israel. Although Israel has never officially denied or admitted the possessing of nuclear weapons, and the United States is happy to help cover it up, but based on observation and some statement, Israel has undisclosed nuclear weapons. It's like former CIA Director Robert Gates' 2006 statement that Iran is surrounded by nuclear weapons power, including Israel in the West. According to data from the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, Israel is currently believed to have 19 nuclear weapons. Israel has constantly opposed the nuclear weapons ban treaty, arguing that the negotiation process for this treaty failed to give sufficient attention and confidence to the country's security and stability context. Moving to the right, we have India at number 7. India has about 164 nuclear weapons, which can be launched from missile and most likely from airplanes. It may also be able to launch them from submarine. India conducted a total of 3 nuclear tests in 1974 and 1998. While the protracted conflict with Pakistan has historically been the focus of Indian nuclear programs, India is also increasingly concerned about its relationship with China. This further complicates the regional situation, as any move by India to modernize its nuclear weapons in response to China will inevitably threaten Pakistan and could increase the change of an arms race. In 2022, India reiterated that it would never engage and be bound by the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. In sixth place is Pakistan. Pakistan has around 170 nuclear weapons, which can be launched from the missile and aircraft. Pakistan is also developing the ability to launch missile from submarine. Pakistan conducted 2 nuclear tests in 1998. The size and makeup of Pakistan's future arsenal is likely to depend heavily on what its neighbor India does, given that the two countries are still embroiled in a border conflict. Pakistan has opposed the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons since 2018. In 2022, Pakistan said that the treaty was not beneficial to the country, with evidence of its failure to address Pakistan's security concern. Moving to the continental Europe, we have the United Kingdom in 5th place. Great Britain has around 225 nuclear weapons, which can be launched from submarine base on the coast of Scotland at His Majesty Naval Base. The United Kingdom has also conducted 45 nuclear tests between 1952 and 1991. In 2021, the UK announced that it would increase its nuclear arsenal to 260 warheads. The United Kingdom's joint other nuclear weapons state it opposing the Treaty of the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. The UK also calls on all states that support the treaty to reflect seriously on its implication for international peace and security. Moving down a bit, we have France in 4th place. France has nearly 300 nuclear weapons. Most of these weapons are submarine-based, and the rest are air-launched cruise missile-based. France sees its deterrence strategies as defensive in nature, but does not rule out the possibility of being the first country to use nuclear weapons in extreme circumstances for self-defense. Between 1960 and 1996, France conducted a total of 210 nuclear tests in Algeria and French Polynesia. France also did not agree to the Treaty of the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons because it was not in line with current international security conditions. France even invited Australia and Africa countries that were once colonized not to participate in the treaty. Heading back to Asia, there's China in 3rd place. China developed nuclear weapons during the Cold War and has around 410 nuclear weapons, which can be launched from missile, submarine, and airplane. Between 1964 and 1966, China conducted 45 nuclear tests in its territory. It is believed that more than 100 nuclear weapons were used for missiles that could reach in the United States. China, like Russia, is concerned about a first strike that the United States could make on its territory. So China will likely continue to expand and improve its nuclear forces. China also opposed the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons because they think the treaty will affect international security. Heading to the Americas, there is of course the United States within a 2N place. The United States arsenal contains around 5,400 nuclear weapons, 1,744 of which have been deployed and are ready for delivery. Others are stored at Air Force bases, where they can be loaded into long-range bomber. 100 American bombs are deployed at air bases in 5 European countries. The United States conducted 1,030 nuclear tests between 1945 and 1992, mostly in Nevada and the Marshall Islands, but some in the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific. The largest nuclear test conducted by the US was the Castle Bravo test conducted on March 1, 1954 at the Bikini Atoll at the Pacific Ocean. The explosion produced 15 megatons with a mushroom cloud about 40 kilometers long. The United States is actively discouraging other countries from supporting the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. In a document sent to NATO members ahead of the vote, the United States encouraged members to vote against the resolution. Moving towards the transcontinental countries, Russia takes the first place. Russia has around 5,889 nuclear weapons which can be launched from missile, submarine, and airplanes. The former Soviet Union tested 715 nuclear weapons between 1949 and 1990. At the Semipalatinsk test range in modern-day Kazakhstan, Russia, and the modern-day Ukraine. The largest nuclear explosion occurred in 1961, when the Soviet Union detonated Tsar Bomba at Novaya Zemlya north of the Arctic Circle. The yield of the explosion reached 50 megatons or 3,300 times more powerful than the nuclear bomb dropped on Hiroshima. The number of Russian nuclear weapons is inseparable from the number of nuclear weapons possessed by the United States. Russia has also made it clear that it will only make further nuclear reduction if America's missile defense are also legally limited. Moreover, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said in 2019 that the goal of eliminating nuclear weapons cannot be achieved by the unilateral and rather arrogant methods on which the treaty is based. Therefore, Russia will not support the nuclear weapons ban treaty. FYI, lovers, the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons is the first legally binding international treaty banning nuclear weapons, with the ultimate goal being the total elimination of nuclear weapons. The treaty was adopted on July 7, 2017, opened for signature on September 20, 2017, and entered into force on January 22, 2021. Well, Geo lovers, in your opinion, is it possible that their 9 countries will someday change their mind and join the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons? You can comment below.